hospitalized. Rescuers using the jaws of life to remove the golfer from his vehicle. We have the very latest on his condition.
Federal indictment. A legendary Cleveland politician arrested and accused of taking advantage of taxpayers. We have the newest information.
Darkest color that we would get, or that was made available to us, was either tan or maybe taupe, but there was never or rarely anything that was our skin tone.
Flesh-colored point shoes. They're not easy to find for black and brown girls. Now a ballet teacher is addressing that problem.
Personalizing your space. We're helping you make your office desk feel just as comfortable as your home desk. And a top secret project. Cedar Point is teasing fans with the possibility of a new ride when it could be making its debut. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
We begin this afternoon with breaking news about legendary golfer Tiger Woods. He was seriously injured in a rollover crash in Rancho Palos Verdes, California today. That is a coastal area near Los Angeles. This is a live look from the scene of that crash, and crews are now working to remove his car from the area. It was a single car crash. No one was in the car with Woods at the time of the crash. First responders had to use the jaws of life to extract him from his SUV.
Yeah, Betsy, first responders actually arrived on the scene of the accident at about 7:15 this morning. After being cut from the vehicle, Woods was rushed to an LA County hospital. Multiple outlets reporting Woods was conscious when he was pulled from the vehicle, where according to his agent, Mark Steinberg, he has now undergone surgery to address multiple leg injuries. In fact, according to law enforcement officials in California, Woods suffered compound fractures in at least one of his legs. Right now, it is not clear what caused him to crash. Woods underwent surgery on his back to repair an injured disc in December. That was his 5th back surgery. ESPN is reporting that Woods' injuries are not life-threatening. We, of course, are continuing to monitor the situation. We will bring you updates on air and on WKYC.com. And with that, we welcome you to our Tuesday edition of What's New. Alongside Betsy Kling, I'm Jay Crawford.
And Jay, we've had a beautiful afternoon today, but certainly things are getting interesting as far as the forecast goes, as we are warming up a little bit. We'll have an update on the forecast with Matt coming up in just a few minutes.
Melting snow, always an issue. Betsy, big news tonight about one of Cleveland's longest-serving council members. This morning, FBI agents arrested Ken Johnson at his home. A federal grand jury indicted Johnson on 15 charges, including theft in office. His council aide and the former head of a neighborhood nonprofit were also arrested and accused of being part of this scheme. Our Mark Namick, who first exposed the issues at the heart of the indictment, has the very latest.
Elected in 1980, Ken Johnson is a legend in Cleveland politics, in part for his advocacy for Cleveland rec centers. There's even one named after him. But federal prosecutors say this 74-year-old official has been cheating taxpayers for more than a decade. He's accused of submitting phony receipts to city council for reimbursement totaling more than $127,000. A recreation department employee and his council aide have also been charged with helping him. Johnson is also accused of directing federal money to a neighborhood nonprofit he had close ties to. The nonprofit then funneled some of that money back to him through phony paychecks linked to his son and 2 others Johnson had guardianship over.
The 2 schemes resulted in about $175,000 in loss. And if anyone says that's small potatoes, I would disagree, especially because the folks in Ward 4, they were entitled to the benefit of those proceeds, and they did not receive them. As alleged in the indictment, the proceeds that were paid as a result of those fraudulent submissions and statements were directed to accounts controlled by Mr. Johnson.
Johnson, who could not be reached today, remains on council, but Council President Kevin Kelly has removed him from committee assignments, including one overseeing the rec centers. I detailed these issues that are in the indictment years ago in a series of stories, but Cleveland Mayor Frank Jackson and Kevin Kelly were slow to react. leaving Johnson largely unchecked. Today, City Hall had no comment. I'm Mark Namick, 3 News.
We'll keep on top of that one for sure. Now we're going to turn to 3 things you need to know that are happening around the world of politics today. Russ Mitchell joins us for a look at that. Russ, it was a busy day at the Capitol today.
It certainly was, Betsy. We begin with the attacks on the Capitol last month. The Senate grilled several top law enforcement officials on their response to the violence. Former U.S. Capitol Police Chief Stephen's son, who resigned after the attack, blamed bad intelligence for his department being unprepared.
We properly planned for a mass demonstration with possible violence. What we got was a military-style coordinated assault on my officers and a violent takeover of the Capitol building.
Son to the House and Senate sergeants at arms all testified they did not see an FBI alert sent the day before the attacks. The alert warned that extremists were calling for war at the Capitol. Once the violence began, D.C. Metropolitan Police responded. The acting chief testified that he was stunned by how long it took to mobilize the National Guard. Also at the Capitol, the House committee heard virtual testimony from top officials with Pfizer and Moderna about the vaccine rollout. Moderna's president admitting that they need to get more doses into arms faster. Both companies promised to increase deliveries over the next 5 weeks.
We expect to increase the number of doses available from approximately 4 to 5 million doses per week at the beginning of February to more than 13 million doses per week by the middle of March.
Meanwhile, Johnson & Johnson could get emergency approval for its single-dose vaccine as early as this weekend. And back here at home, Governor DeWine ordered all U.S. flags to be flown at half-staff on public buildings and grounds. It's to honor 500,000 Americans who died from COVID. The order goes through Friday at sunset. And Betsy, that's all for now. I'll see you in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Russ. We'll see you at 6 on What Matters Most. Jay.
All right, Betsy, now on your feed at 5. Nothing says summer in Northeast Ohio quite like a trip to Cedar Point. It's something that many of us did not get a chance to experience last year, but we are hoping this summer will be different. And though the park is set for a full opening in May, they are already looking ahead a bit to 2022. Guests at the park's Winter Chill Out charity event picked up on top secret clues that indicate a new ride is on its way. Here's Amani Abraham with what we need to know.
Cedar Point is known for dropping a few hints, teasing upcoming projects at the park. From Steel Vengeance and the Forbidden Frontier Experience, teases have been a part of the park's history. And last weekend was no different. Guests at Cedar Point's Winter Chill Out charity event found this sign pointing to a new roller coaster in 2022.
So obviously it is a big tease to the enthusiasts, for the people that catch it.
Mike Baker snapped the photo and posted it on the Facebook page Cedar Point Nation. Another photo shows a whiteboard that mentions 526 feet and T-Rex, which is a specific type of roller coaster. A map shows it placed in between the Maverick roller coaster and the Cedar Point Creek Mine Ride, the same spot by the Antique Cars attraction. Baker and Michael Johnson have their own theories on what it could be.
We think it's going to be a flyer coaster, similar to Manson and SeaWorld Orlando.
We reached out to Cedar Point's Tony Clark about the teases, and he gave us another one, saying, quote, "Winter Chill Out is a great time for us to share new information and have a little fun while we're at it. Will anything they saw come to fruition? Maybe, maybe not." For Cedar Point enthusiasts,
it's always going to just build, anticipation and theories.
They're having fun with the clues and are looking forward to the new season.
I'll be there opening day. And I'll be looking around trying to find the little clues.
Amani Abraham, 3 News.
Yeah, so for people that love coasters and love Cedar Point, this is huge news. And I will tell, I grew up in Sandusky, and I'm old. I remember when they launched Corkscrew and the Gemini and all of these major rides. And this is the way they've done it through the years. They tease you a little bit to let you know something's coming, but they make you wait for all the details, and I, for one, can't wait.
And then when they take one offline, like the demon drop.
Yeah, I remember that.
Just so like, wait a minute, what? Why have you done this? There was nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I know, that was fun. I'm so old, I remember when the demon drop debuted, and then when it went away. That's how long I've been around.
If you remember when the Corkscrew started and the Gemini, Now,
oh,
come on,
man,
Jay.
I was like 12 years old, but
right?
And the ride was only 30-some seconds after you went down the first hill. But it was the greatest half minute of your life, man.
It's a rickety old girl, I'll tell you that.
It was fun.
Well, talk about a ride of your life. We have new images that are coming from the Mars rover today. So far, more than 4,000 images have been sent from the red planet. This video shows the deployment of the parachute. There it is, the separation of the heat shield, and of course, the landing. Look at this as the little rockets fire off to very gently lower the rover. Well, it happened with 5 high-def cameras, and this exploration is being hailed as a huge victory for space exploration and beyond.
It's stunning and it's real, and that was our thought too when we first saw it. We're like, wow, this looks like, doesn't look real, but it is, and that's what's so amazing about it.
Now here's the thing, nobody's seen these types of pictures before. Nobody has. So NASA's actually hoping that the public will look at the images, take a look, and write down your observations, send them in. And that'll help scientists who are seeking sands of past life. It's always good to have more, opinions, what you're seeing, little things they may not have noticed. And we get a lot of eyeballs on these things, and it's amazing the new details that can be picked up. You know, Jay, if they had missed their window for launch, it would have been another 2 years before they could have attempted the mission again.
Yeah, obviously the biggest key in the launch window is proximity between Earth and Mars. I may have looked at 2,000 of those 4,000 images today because I got on the site and I couldn't pull myself away. If you've ever driven through the desert of California, it looks just like these pictures that we're getting from Mars. In fact, they have audio files on NASA.gov.
They are so cool.
And you know, I'm such a geek. I listened to one after another. Now, there's nothing there. It's eerie silence.
You hear wind.
But it is cool to listen to it because you're saying, wow, that's the first time anyone has ever heard what actually is going on Mars.
I was actually listening to it and thinking, I might like to go to Mars if this is how it sounds for just a couple minutes. Just
for the peace and quiet? Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah.
That would be a blast for sure. Okay, next on What's New, a dream come true for one Cleveland native after his script becomes part of a major motion picture starring none other than Liam Neeson. Stephanie Haney's up next to explain that dream becoming a reality.
Plus, more on the news on the infamous college admissions scandal. Why a new documentary is coming out that says we still don't know everything.
And a beautiful sunny day for us across Northeast Ohio. Question is, Matt Wintz, do we have any more of these in the future?
Well, Jay, you mentioned dream becoming a reality. Boy, that is what our forecast has been over the course of the day. We hit 40 degrees plus across the viewing area. You can see the CSU cam showing abundant sunshine. We've got later sunsets. We've got rising average temperatures. Nothing but good things to look forward to in the forecast. We'll take you through it coming up.
All right, thanks, Matt. And now we take a look downtown and a downtown Cleveland classic. Johnny's Little Bar is our featured Save Our Sauce restaurant today. It's right there over on the alley. This is where to go downtown when you want a really, really good burger. It's a favorite of a lot of folks here. Johnny's is also home with some of the most enthusiastic Browns backers in town. You can check out this restaurant and more recommendations from our Doug Tratner at WKYC.com/SaveOurSauce.
Okay, great.
I was in the Marine Corps, so I suggest you all turn around and adios. I'm a soldier too.
He's so good. One of my favorites. A new movie starring Liam Neeson is out, and it's doing very well at the box office, which is great news considering it was filmed right here in Cleveland.
Well, our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney, talked with one of the screenwriters from the movie. And Stephanie, he is also from Cleveland.
Yes, that's right, Betsy. He is a Pepper Pike native. I got to talk with Danny Kravitz, and he told me the best part about working on this project was getting to see his family who still live in the area. And if you can believe it, this is his first major motion picture. He shared with me all about how it really surpassed his wildest dreams.
Being in Ohio, it's you know, aesthetically, it's beautiful. And so there was just this fall Cleveland gorgeousness happening. And then in terms of watching, you know, the film being made, watching Liam and Jacob and Rob and Mark Patton, the cinematographer, you know, watching them work. As a screenwriter, you don't always get to be up close for that stuff. And certainly with your first film, I wouldn't say it's common. And my partner and I got that privilege. And it was amazing.
Looks like you had a little incident.
Yeah.
Watching Liam Neeson and Jacob bring these characters to life. In like you said, there's in the fun action scenes, but also in the tender moments between them, or the kind of really nuanced emotional scenes between them. It was like a masterclass, watching a masterclass in acting. And it's in your head, it's kind of like stick figures a little bit, and it's like not really lit, it's kind of black and whitish, and then it just comes alive like you're in a dream.
Now, many of the scenes you just saw were shot right here in Lorain, Portage County, and Chardon. Jay and Betsy. Danny talked with me about the experience working with these Hollywood icons and more about his inspiration for the storyline. And we have that full conversation up at WKYC.com/what's new.
Well, it's certainly, you know, a neat little introspective there to bring it home and get your family members involved, get to see everybody. That adds a little bit of juice. But, you know, to bring some of these big stars to Northeast Ohio, I think that's always kind of a fun little tidbit that we can put a feather in our cap too.
Hey, Stephanie, is this available for streaming or is it only in theaters right now?
It's only in theaters right now, Jay, but Danny did tell me it will be available for on-demand streaming rental very soon. We don't have a release date yet. We don't know what platform, but he tells me it's coming. So when we know, people will know.
Yeah, awesome, because I want to see it. Stephanie, thanks, and we'll see you again at 5:30 with What's Clicking in Cleveland.
My family would call those kind of movies butt kickers.
Yeah,
and the
those
kids
are my favorite
not
kind
allowed
of
to watch.
Yeah, a lot of folks. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm a huge Liam Neeson fan. And so, Bets, I was thinking today, what's our weather word going to be? I think one of the greatest scenes in any action movie ever was from Taken, where Liam Neeson is talking to the kidnapper of his daughter, and he goes on to say, I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you want.
You got to do the voice. Come on.
Yeah, I don't have a good Liam Neeson, but I know it by heart. I mean, he says, I don't have a lot of money, but what I do have is a very particular set of skills. So, Matt, your weather word today is skills. And by the way, if you haven't seen that movie, Google that scene. It is awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, you're sending chills up my spine, Jay, just remembering what that scene was like. You know, I always try to rehearse the movie scenes and replay them with my family, and they turn out totally wrong, and they just tell me to stop. So I think you did a fantastic job at replaying that scene for sure.
I've seen it enough.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, well, it sounds like you have. I know you've got a lot of spare time at home, so for sure. All right, let's talk about the heat today. We were above 40 degrees, believe it or not, area-wide. Official high still to be determined. I think it was around 43 at Hopkins. That's as warm as I saw. Warmest day in 39 days, Northeast Ohio. I hope you're soaking it up. We've got warmer days than this ahead as well, but look area-wide, we're in the 40s right now. The wind out of the west, we've shut off that northerly wind, and it makes a big difference this time of year. You can tell meteorological spring is really close on Monday. Every time we hit meteorological spring every year, I always say you could just tell the difference in the sun angle. It's getting brighter outside. The birds are starting to chirp. What a difference we're starting to get into here. The wind continues to gust, though. It will ease a little bit tonight, then it'll pick back up tomorrow. But our wind is actually coming off of snow-packed land. We still have the snow here, obviously, but back towards Indiana, Illinois, you do. So I'm going to flip the graphic here. Watch this. Snowpack, no snowpack. Look at the temperature difference. 40s over that snowpack. Meanwhile, you get south of that where we've got the dry land, and we're talking 60s to near 80 degrees in areas that had the snow about a week ago and all that bitter cold. What a change. This is just what the doctor ordered for many areas of the deep south. Steady temps tonight. I mentioned that wind will start to ease a little bit. You can see that little number there down at the bottom. We will maintain these clear skies with some high floating clouds. You can see we've cleared out nicely this afternoon. And we're going to keep that forecast tomorrow morning in terms of the sunshine. But here's our next weather system as it moves on in. This one has pretty decent skills in terms of bringing warm air into it. You can see that was really a poor use of the word. But you can see that warm air coming into it. We will bump up our temperatures tomorrow morning. I think we have a gorgeous start. And then temps are going to slide back later in the day. Our National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast, you can see the clear skies tonight. We start in the upper 30s tomorrow. Here come the clouds at midday. We should touch 50 degrees tomorrow in many locations. But watch what happens afternoon and evening. That front goes by, kicks off a couple showers. We're back in the 30s later in the day with some clouds. It'll be a much different wind coming out of the northwest. And overall, we're going to stay much chillier on Thursday before we bump things back up this weekend. Let's take a look at that Union Hill Mortgage 7-day forecast. There's our fall into Thursday. Mostly sunny, beautiful day on Friday. And then for the weekend, we bring in rain, but we've bumped up our temperatures into the 50s. Betsy, 'tis this season for 50-degree temperatures around here. It seemed like we'd never get there, but I feel like maybe we are just for a little bit.
Matt, Jay is literally jumping up and down in his seat. Like, you're like a 5-year-old kid.
Hey, I'm happy, man.
I'll get out of the way.
Very
just look
excited
at it.
about those
Just enjoy it.
It's Matt Wintz, everybody. Ends in a Z, and his skills end in a Z as well. Well played, Matt Wintz. All right.
Oh, boy.
Next for us here on What's New. It is officially official. Green Bay Packers QB Aaron Rodgers is, in fact, engaged. How his fiancée made sure everybody knew that it wasn't just a rumor. That's coming up in Pop Break.
Can't wait for that. Also, a buzzer beater from college hoops. Now, I know that normally these things don't happen until March Madness, but we've got a good one for you. It's our worth the watch. It's worth sticking around for.
right, everybody, it's time for our pop break. Aaron Rodgers is now engaged. Plus, we're getting a peek at the new Netflix documentary that focuses on the college admissions scandal. Here's Kiara Cotton with all the details.
It's been 6 years since hip-hop artist and social media sensation Bobby Shmurda was sent to prison. Today, he's a free man. The Brooklyn native, whose real name is Akil Pollard, was released this morning after serving time on charges that he conspired with a violent drug gang. In 2014, at the time of his arrest, Bobby was at the height of his career with his hit song Hot Boy and corresponding Shmoney Dance that maintained popularity during his time in prison. Now released, Bobby will remain under community supervision until his sentence is complete in February 2026.
Is there any risk that this thing blows up in my face?
Turns out the answer was yes. Yesterday, Netflix released the first trailer for its new documentary on the college admissions scandal. According to the streaming platform, the movie goes beyond celebrity headlines and delves into Rick Singer, the man responsible for persuading wealthy clients to cheat in the education system. In a tweet promoting the film, Netflix wrote, "Everything you've heard is true, but you haven't heard everything. Operation Varsity Blues, the college admissions scandal, will be released March 17th. It's official. Shailene Woodley is engaged to Green Bay Packers QB Aaron Rodgers. She confirmed the news during a virtual interview with Jimmy Fallon last night.
Everybody right now is freaking out over it, and we're like, yeah, we've been engaged for a while.
Rodgers broke the news of their engagement during his MVP acceptance speech earlier this month. However, Woodley went on to say that she doesn't know Rodgers as the football guy. She knows him as the nerd that wants to host Jeopardy. I think it's safe to say that hosting Jeopardy is on most of our bucket lists. But I'm still trying to figure out how these two found love during a pandemic. I guess anything is possible. Back to you guys.
Yes, it is. Thanks, Kiara. All right, time for our Worth the Watch. March Madness still a couple of weeks away, but Indiana Tech experiencing it right here. Down by 2. Grant Smith for the win. And Betsy, I love his reaction. He's just pounding his head. Tech wins the game 81-80. It's worth another look. Look at this. Catch, spin, heave, got it. You go, man. That's the way you win a basketball game.
Got to get it up there first. Awesome stuff. Well, still ahead here for us on What's New, we dive into reorganizing your workspace once you return to the office. I'll share my before and after pictures as we talk to a local professional organizing expert to help you, too.
Also, former Indian star Frankie Lindor raised some eyebrows yesterday when he admitted he did not give max effort last year for the Indians. We'll hear where he slacked off and why.
Hello, testies, 1, 2, 3. Now, I reached out to Kohl's and Soma and a couple of other retailers just to see if they carry brown fresh. Okay, you got them? Okay. Oh, okay. You sound so over this already, Al. Now, I checked in with Kohl's and Soma to see if they carry. Okay.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Welcome back to What's New, everybody. And you know, just a couple minutes ago, Matt Wentz said it. When the sun comes out and it seems like it's brighter and the sun angle is higher. And today, I heard the birds chirping and singing. And I think that's the first time in quite a while I've really heard the birds going at it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that really is the cue that here it comes, man. When you hear the birds singing throughout the day, you know you're getting close. Beautiful out today. Mm-hmm. Finally, we had a temperature that started with a 4 and not a 2 or a 3.
First time in almost 40 days.
I couldn't believe that when Matt said that. Well, and that leads us to this, by the way. We're so excited that spring's around the corner. We have been bringing you our countdown to spring. And there's Betsy looking a little sheepish behind the sign there.
So not sheepish. You're just like all out in front. Like,
I know.
This is my season.
I think you're kind of like tempering your enthusiasm because you're I can almost hear you saying, it can still be very cold and even snow after that first day of spring.
We have had snow in May, my friend.
Yeah, I know. So that's Betsy giving me that reminder. I love that sign. That's so cool. All right, we start at 5:30 with 3 things you need to know. And if you're just home from work and haven't heard, officials in LA County are investigating a single vehicle accident involving Tiger Woods. He suffered multiple leg injuries, had to have surgery, according to the golfer's agent. Woods was the only person in the vehicle. There's been some conflicting reports. Initially, it was reported the paramedics needed to use the jaws of life to get Woods out of the vehicle. Just moments ago, TMZ clarifying that report, saying no, the jaws of life were not used. And this often happens in breaking news, Betsy. One piece of misinformation gets out there, and I'm sure we'll learn more as this goes on. Woods, by the way, just had his 5th back surgery. That was back in December. We're awaiting a live update from Los Angeles very soon. It's scheduled to begin at the top of the hour, 6 o'clock. We will take you there live when that happens. Closer to home, longtime Cleveland City Councilman Ken Johnson and 2 of his associates have been indicted by a federal grand jury on corruption charges. The FBI tells 3 News Johnson has been arrested. We have the full 29-page indictment on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. And your daily coronavirus numbers. Our new cases showing your typical Tuesday bump, up by 1,100 from yesterday, 2,775. Our positivity rate holding steady, though, right at the recommended threshold, according to the World Health Organization, of 5%. Hospitalizations down for a 16th straight day, now at 1,359 COVID-19 patients statewide. And we're now just under 1.5 million vaccinations for Ohioans. That's the first shot. That is 12.62% of our state's total population. Betsy?
Well, we're going to change over now to our top talker. It has been nearly a year since many Americans packed up their desks and started working from home. And now many companies are starting to transition employees back into their office space. Well, I've been back here in the studio for a few weeks now after working from home for a little bit. And I got to tell you, when I walked back in, I kind of felt a little different. So we want to help you make that transition back to work and how you feel as you're getting back to work. Your office space can be a little bit more cozy, maybe a little bit more like a home office. I'll show you the before and after pictures of what I did to my desk in a minute, but first, here are some ideas. Cubicles, cubbies, offices, desks. Workplaces often feel cold and impersonal. I got a taste of that work from home life earlier this winter. It's the first time in my entire career I was in my own space. So we asked Christina Heideck, who professionally organizes workspaces, for tips on how to make your work cubicle feel more like you.
Your needs may have changed, right? Or what you want from the space is probably certainly changed because you've had the benefit of working at home in a more comfortable space, and now you're coming back into the office. And it's, like I said, it's not always set up for comfort. It's set up to be more productive. But you are ultimately more productive when you're comfortable.
Now, you may have been at your job for 5 years or 20, but either way, when we all get back to normal, reorganizing your space and getting rid of the things from a year ago could be a bit overwhelming when you return to the office.
So where should you start?
First, tackle the flat spaces and then go through each drawer individually. And I would just break it up so that it's not too much. Just do one space a day. Like do the flat do your desktop the first day, and then maybe do your top drawer the next day, and then keep going.
And of course, we all need that motivation to keep going at work. Here's another tip, especially if you're dreaming of that next long delayed vacation.
It would be really fun to add a picture of someplace you want to go to your space. So that way you could look at it and go, yes, that's why I'm working. That's why I'm back here. And it just might be some extra motivation and make you smile and just remind you of fun times to come.
Well, she said to bring in decor that matches your personality. I will tell you, first thing I thought of was picture frames, new picture frames. It made a huge difference, and that's pretty cheap to do. Well, I've been back in the office now for a few weeks, and what I realized while at home was that for the first time in my career, I had the chance to be comfortable while I was working, and I actually really liked that. So with the permission of my boss, and let me say that again, I did get permission from my boss, I decided to upgrade my cubicle to make it feel a little bit more like home. And we have the before and after pics. What you're going to see is the first thing I did was clean it.
Yeah, you're pretty messy on the left there, Bets. I'm not going to lie.
Well, it's all dusty and nobody, I try and keep up with it.
Sure.
But cleaning is a huge part of it. Purge, 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 purge. Then I got to add a few personal touches. And Christina says I did a good job.
I think you really like some of the things that Betsy has done to personalize her space. And I think that's the biggest thing that jumped out at me, is that it looks like it more matches her personality. The rug isn't just a boring rug. I really like that she also added the task lighting with the lamp, because it's big enough to actually be functional, but not too big that it's going to get in her way.
And my big thing is I didn't want to spend a lot of money.
Well, you can redecorate your desk on the cheap because it's such a small space, and it's amazing what like a lamp and that rug and a few picture frames will do.
I'm sure people are going, oh, she got the frames at Michael's and she got the lamp at Target and the rug is from Amazon. The little calendar on my desk is from Aldi, the Isle of Shame, my favorite place in the world. Shout out to all my Aldi friends out there. But, it's amazing that those little tiny touches that just make it more me, make me more comfortable. I keep my space a lot cleaner now. Sure. And I just kind of have this sense of like, all right, let's get this done.
Well, it is an extension of you, it is. And you want to put out whatever vibe it is that you're putting out.
Yep.
And clean and neat and nice that's never a bad vibe. It's never a bad vibe.
And then you get to know me for real. Blow that up. All right, next on What's New, a $2 million donation. We'll tell you which kids will benefit from this the most.
Then Francisco Lindor admits to slacking off last season. We'll tell you the reason why. In today's Black History Moment, we're highlighting the first black woman to get this, become a National Hockey League scout. Here's our Romney Smith with her incredible story.
Blake Bolding grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. She's loved hockey her entire life, and her father introduced her to the sport since he worked for the Cleveland Lumberjacks. She played ice hockey in college in Boston and went pro, becoming the first black woman to play in the National Women's Hockey League in 2015.
And when girls were coming up to me saying, Blake, 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 I want your autograph. I love you so much. I was like, oh, okay, this is my path. This is my responsibility, because when I was a little girl, I didn't look up and see anyone that looked like me. So I really took that to heart, and I want to be that person for all the little girls behind me. And I don't even really see it as pressure, more so as a privilege.
In February of 2020, the Los Angeles Kings hired Bolden to become the first black female pro scout in the National Hockey League.
Joe, is there a box coming in or going out?
Yes, I am.
Cold Toss Jay.
All right, everybody, 43 degrees. That is the official high temperature preliminarily from Cleveland Hopkins Airport today. Matt, we got a few bonus degrees, and I don't think anybody is complaining.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Definitely overachieving. Betsy, do you want to do my second graphic? Because you just did my first graphic.
Sorry.
For sure, sitting at 40.
I was all excited to look it up.
Off the press. I know. It usually gets released around 5:30, 5:35 or so. So Betsy's on top of it. Boy, she just multiple trades there that you've got. 43 degrees officially, though, as you mentioned, above our average high of 39, which continues to creep up. That's some good news. I was doing some digging. We may hit 50 this weekend. If you missed the first segment of weather here at the top of the show, if we hit 50, that'll be the warmest since just before Christmas. We had a couple 50-degree days there. So how about that? Definitely the light at the end of the tunnel weather-wise, right? 40s all across the board right now. Sandusky, you're the cold spot, 39. You just dropped here in the last hour, but you can see we've got 40s, but it's notably cooler. This is not a frontal boundary here that separates the 40s from the 60s and 70s. That's actually snow cover. That still remains. We've melted all the snow from Texas up towards southern areas near the Ohio Valley of Indiana, Illinois, and you can see where that snowpack is. So that tends to kind of insulate the air, as you'd expect, some 10 to 15 degrees cooler than where it could be this time. But we've got a system moving in. This will help to continue to melt that snow as this system slides in from the west. This will increase our clouds tomorrow. It'll also drop our temperatures late in the day tomorrow as well. You can see not a lot with it right now. This is very similar to the system that went by last night and this morning. And you can see we cleared things out. We also get a really nice look via the GOES 16 satellite imagery of some of that lake ice, which is now way offshore. If you've been up towards the lake shore, you don't see much ice until you look way out. So obviously not a situation you want to get close to. A little bit of ice down towards the shallower waters out towards the west, but most of the ice has kind of shifted back out. Lake Erie right now, 69% ice coverage right now. So let's go hour by hour with that forecast. Let's time out tomorrow's frontal boundary. You can see tomorrow morning with your National Zymart forecast, we start in the upper 30s. I think we're going to tag close to 50 degrees tomorrow, right in the early afternoon. Notice the clouds increase, and then we bring these shower chances in. Those temps are going to drop once that front moves through. So we'll likely hit 50 during the midday hours. By afternoon, we'll watch things slide from north to south. And by tomorrow evening, kind of back to reality. But boy, the way the last couple weeks gone, this isn't going to be bad. Thursday is going to feature clearing skies. We will have more bright sunshine on the way, but it's going to be much cooler. We'll be in the 30s. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. We've got 50 tomorrow. Remember, that happens fairly early in the afternoon. Then we're 30 on Thursday. Friday looks great. Lots of sunshine, mid-40s. Then we're into the 50s again this weekend with some scattered rain chances. I think most hours this weekend look dry. And then next week, not too bad behind that system, Jay. We're talking 40s behind a cold front. That's what we like to hear around here. We're going to try to keep the good news coming for sure.
Well, you're one of my favorites right now because that's a boatload of good news, and I'm glad it's going to continue past your 7-day. Matt, thanks. We'll see you soon. Well, right now it's time to check in and see what's clicking in Cleveland. For that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney, once again. Stephanie, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Jay. I've got a great story to start us off. Meyer is stepping up in a big way to help Cleveland Clinic Children's continue its work with Northeast Ohio students with a $2 million donation. That money will go to paying for a second mobile health care unit that travels between school districts. This is a full-service pediatric office where kids can get physical exams, be treated when they're sick, get immunizations, the works. And all of this is regardless of whether the child has health insurance. Last year, with just one of these, the clinic was able to treat 2,000 students. And 2 more bars in Northeast Ohio face liquor license suspensions for breaking COVID rules. The Velvet Dog downtown was hit with 2 back-to-back suspensions for incidents in December. The first one will last for 5 days starting March 22nd, and the second one goes for 10 days starting March 27th. Now, if Velvet Dog pays $3,000 in fines, it can avoid those suspensions. But Flood's Urban Seafood Lounge in Warrensville Heights is not so lucky. The way things stand now, Flood's faces 3 suspensions for incidents in July and December. The first 2 are for 10 days starting March 22nd and 15 days starting April 1st. Floods can pay $4,000 total to make those go away, but there's a third one that starts April 16th, Jay, and that suspension goes for 120 days. There's no option to pay a fee to get out of that one.
No, that's big. Okay, Stephanie Haney, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Next up on What's New, ballerinas come in all sizes and colors, and so should their shoes. One local black ballerina recently just received her first pair of ballet slippers that match her skin. We'll have her reaction and go more in depth on the struggles of others.
Then Frankie Lindor talking about what led to his struggles on the field last season, and I, for one, was shocked. On this day in history, which city was granted a charter to become a city? Boy, you'd really have to know your trivia to get this right. Was it Chicago, Boston, or LA? We have the answer on the other side of the break.
Yep. Yes. 1, 2, 3. Yes, I can hear you, Al. We are psychically connected because as soon as you started talking, I was getting out of the car. We are best friends, and in some countries, we are married. I will neither confirm nor deny that. You're right. As a Clevelander, you are absolutely right, especially in February. Oh, my mask. Oh, wait, it's on my face. Oh, it's on my ear. Hold on.
Okay, before the break, we asked you which city was granted a charter to actually become a city on this day. Betsy, any guesses?
No idea whatsoever.
Yeah, this was tough. Boston. So today, Betsy, is the first day of Boston's 200th year as a city because it happened in 1822.
That's cool.
So there you go.
A lot to celebrate there.
Sure.
Very fun. Well, now let's take a look at a topic that I don't think about it every day, and I'm sure many of you don't either. Flesh-toned garments. Jay, are you in on that one?
Well, I'm like you. I haven't given that much thought, but for some, it can be critical.
Well, when you start to think about it, on the surface, okay, yeah, it's funny. But this becomes a very interesting topic. Black and brown people, women in particularly, have a hard time finding diverse skin tones in undergarments. That goes beyond undergarments, too. One ballerina's recent viral video brought this topic to light, and a local ballet teacher believes it should be addressed across the board. 3 News' January Keaton has more on bringing inclusivity to flesh colors.
I mean, look at this, look at this. It's like my skin tone. It's brown.
So I ran across this viral video of a black ballerina named Kira Robinson enthusiastically opening up her very first pair of brown, flesh-colored satin point shoes. Now, as a black woman, that spoke to me. I can attest to how difficult it can be to try to find garments and undergarments in brown flesh tones. So I can relate to Kira's excitement, and so can Dava Kanzler.
Hey, look, we've got them in our colors now. Darkest color that we would get, or that was made available to us, was either tan or maybe taupe.
Dava runs Feluke Cultural Arts Center in Cleveland's Central Promise neighborhood. They teach a variety of dance classes to children. Well, for Dava, video of a black ballerina receiving brown point shoes was long overdue.
When this came out, it just went viral. We just shared it all over the place.
Now think about it. When we talk about flesh-colored garments, we're typically not talking about brown flesh. But black folks need flesh-toned garments too. The alternative is to make them flesh-colored.
We would get fashion fair makeup, and they would put the foundation all over the shoes to dye them the color brown that they needed to be.
And that hardly seems fair, especially for the baby ballerinas out there. Can you imagine dancing in shoes caked with foundation? So it's certainly good to see by this ballerina's viral video that the world of what we wear is slowly evolving into a more inclusive and colorful one.
Companies are starting to embrace that, and they're coming in the different skin tones because we come in so many different hues.
Yes, we do. And I reached out to Kohl's, Soma, and a couple other retailers to see if they carry brown flesh tones in their garments and undergarments, but I didn't get a response in enough time, at least, to do this piece. But what an interesting topic, right? Flesh tones for all flesh colors. Who knew? Live in Cleveland, January Keaton, 3 News.
January, when you brought this story up in a news meeting a couple days ago, it like completely was one of those things like, how is this not being done already? It just makes so much sense.
Right.
So much so that if you aren't aware yet, Crayola has released a new line of crayons that are flesh-toned crayons. It's flesh-toned crayons, and it's the whole spectrum. And it's just the most beautiful thing right down into our little people's hands. I love it so much. Thank you for bringing this story to light, January. Great job. Love it.
Thank you.
It's an incredible story. I think, too, Betsy, the incredible thing about it is it's taken this long.
Yep.
I don't see how that's possible. Okay, prepare yourself, Indians fans. I'm about to show you the first images of Frankie Lindor in a Mets uniform. And I have to say, these were pretty hard for me to look at today. Here we go, though. Lindor taking the Mets spring training field in Port St. Lucie, Florida. And as crushed as we are to lose him, Mets fans are that thrilled to get him. But Frankie really raised a lot of eyebrows yesterday when he told reporters covering the Mets that he did not give his all last year, particularly in the weight room. And he said it showed up late in the season, particularly in the last week of the season, because, Betsy, get this, he said he got tired. That was the playoffs. That is the only time of the season that truly matters. Frankie had his worst season in the bigs last year, said it's going to be different this year. Well, good for Mets fans. Betsy, I have to say, for me anyhow, this affects his legacy here in Cleveland. We are a blue-collar town. He made $17.5 million last year, while most experts will tell you he's going to get double that once he signs his new contract. Maybe the Indians knew what they were doing when they just said that's a little too rich for their blood. I was stunned to hear him say anything, but he gave it his all here. Disappointed.
I totally disappointed. And for him to admit it, like, just fake it, all right? Like, fine, you had a bad year, whatever. But, man, come on. We really treated you well here in Cleveland. We're the ones that grew you up, and now we're sending you off to this big career. Show a little gratitude, please.
Hard to see.
Oof. All right, well, moving on. We're going to go to Show Us Something Good. And we're going to show you my little sweetie. Yep, that's Violet. I'll tell you what's going on with this picture next. Oh, my God.
Hey, Al, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, 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 hello. Thank you.
Hey, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check, mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Al, I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah. Ken Johnson, still councilman, collecting his $87,000 a year.